Greetings, fellow slingers. Welcome back to the show. It is I, your trusted Dungeon Master Brian, welcoming you once again to my satellite rage room. And I even got satellite lights. Yeah, check that out. Just hung those up just the other day. As always, whenever we're getting ready to record for the evening, we always have a little pre-game ramble back and forth, and even have a post-game, which most of the time, neither one of those really get recorded. It's more for our own, our own information to kind of touch base on where we were last week and where the show's going, where we're going next week, what they plan on doing, and whatnot. And as a way of trying to bring the show more mainstream to all of you fellow listeners out there, Ryan actually came up with a really good idea, ran it by me and the other hard slingers, and we both thought it was a really good idea. And that is, if any of you listeners have a rule or an interpretation of the rule that you would like for the show to cover, write into the show and ask us, or mention it, or even if a rule that we ourselves just kind of totally blunder. I know that we are far from perfect, especially when we went from going 5e to Pathfinder, then back from Pathfinder to 5e. There were a couple mechanics that were kind of left out in the wind, and I had to interpret a few things because the AP had certain elements or certain magic items that needed an analog device in the opposing mechanics, and I think that I was trying to make it work, and I don't know if I really made that one work very well, but we just made a ruling on the fly, and so we did clarify it and actually get that handled. That was the Wand of Lightning Bolts. But if you guys have any rules that you would like us to cover, or an interpretation of such rules, then please write into the show at rollthehard20podcast@gmail.com and ask myself or the other hard slingers, and we'll be more than happy to answer that on the show for you with the rest of the people. Or if you just want one of us, one of the brightest of us, not you, Ryan, to answer those questions for you, then please feel free. Don't forget, we're out there on all the social media footprints, so if you want to touch base with us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, write into the show, ask us a question there, or even give us a shout out. We would love that, because giving a shout out for the show is always much great. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry, sometimes I stumble over my stupid words. English. Look, what a language, right? Anyways, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Don't forget, we're on YouTube at RollHard20. Subscribe, hit that little like bell, never miss an episode. Also, don't forget Patreon at patreon.com/RollTheHard20podcast. As always, we would really appreciate any help that you guys can give. And remember, word of mouth is always key. Also, tell a friend about the show. Have them subscribe to us on whatever podcast app you listen to the show on. Even listen to us on Audible. I mean, I don't think you got to charge anybody for it, but I think it's kind of cool that we're out there. Yay! I guess that's about it. So why don't we warm up our dice and top off our glasses? Roll the Hard 20 podcast presents episode 44 of our Dragon's Demand run through. We found it. And you'll know what that means when you listen to the show.
Up more than it actually needs to, but it still is like one of the sources of it.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking into dropping 2 G's on an electric bicycle and commuting to work.
Just let me know when well, you probably won't let me know when you die, but I'm sure Bella will let me know.
Yeah, your husband died.
Hey, Dave, quick question for our English major. Is it text or texted?
Text. I sent a text. Texted is not correct.
Thank you.
That's because you haven't used it yet. Where are you going?
It will be one day.
Now, how do I change? He was going to go put up that giant clock on the wall.
How do you change your name? Corner. See those 3 dots up there
on the right-hand corner?
You click those. What do you mean you don't know? Don't you do it every week?
No.
You can also just right click on your picture and just go down to change or rename.
Really quick.
Another way to do it too.
Before we lead in and everything, Is everybody okay with this being our new evening Mondays?
Yeah, I'm totally good with it.
Yeah.
Is
it easier for you?
It is easier for me.
Okay.
It gives me Sunday evening to prep all the stuff I got, and it gives
Uh-huh.
me more days to do the edit without feeling like I'm crunching it in. It's just a better day for me to do it if we can make it this way. So
Works for me.
I am fine. There is a slight chance that I will have like the occasional Monday where I have plans. I have certain friends that are I can only see on Mondays every once in a while, but aside from that, I have no problem with it being my.
I see you smiling, Brian. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking the same shit I'm thinking.
you put your
It's
3
'cause
PO
you
away.
are dirty men.
Ryan's being a lady of the night.
Well, listen.
I'm like, what uniform do you wear on Monday? Do you rotate it in different outfit?
Bring out the
Would
sailor.
you like to know why? Are you looking for my services?
Oh.
I don't think I could afford it.
No, you couldn't.
If you gotta ask.
You can't afford it, baby.
Anyway,
Well, if we have to change it every so often, just heads up as always.
yeah, and I'm never gonna like at the last minute be like, "Hey, sorry, can't make it."
No, we're all pretty good about that, which I admire. Other than the occasional bout of diverticulitis or,
Is that contagious?
no.
What about
Maybe if you're eating his ass, it is. But
never asked him out? Never asked him out.
People are terrible.
you're gonna get diverticulitis of the throat by eating Brian's ass.
That's enough out of you.
Tossing somebody.
Somebody was going to
toss you
ask me a
salad.
question. Who's going to ask me a question?
So next week, because I have the spring break thing, can we maybe do a different day?
What day
I hate
did
to
you
get
wanna do?
behind.
What day?
That's not what I heard.
Oh my god, you guys are on fire tonight. So
wake
we're
up.
going out of town Sunday and we're coming back Thursday, but I could do Saturday, I could do Thursday, Friday, and then the next Saturday, Sunday.
I can't do Saturday because I work Saturday. I don't know if Junior's off or not, but usually his schedule's similar to mine.
Yeah, Saturdays might be hard. I'd have to,
Maybe Thursday. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on everybody else too. So, and Junior, you're handicapped on Wednesday, right?
yes, I'm handicapped Wednesday. Wednesday's off limits for
Ash
at
Wednesday?
least for.
Are you doing a church thing?
No. Brian's just saying I'm doing a church thing. No, there's a conflict in scheduling, so for, my Wednesday slot had to get taken up for at least a few weeks. But if we switch to Mondays, I mean that's going to be fine. But right
So
now,
when
I'm
does your
locked-
Wednesday slut come back?
my Wednesday. That's gonna be like a few weeks out. I think sometime like next month.
It's not going to accommodate your spring break there.
You got to
know.
treat your sluts better, man. When they're out of action, they're not earning. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you know,
They're off the street.
my slots are just down for commission, just like the COVID thing.
I'm my schedule's open, so whatever we decide, if we have to
Hey, I
skip a
didn't
week,
ask.
that's fine.
Nobody asked.
Yeah, why don't you, Junior? Can you finish eating his ass, loosen him up a little bit more? He's a little.
You want tongue? No tongue?
Van Wilder. So
I
let
mean,
me know
tongue
what
is the only way to
day
do
works
it.
for you this week. Then
Who to who? Me?
I told Van Wilder,
Oh,
let us know what day he's got available before he goes on spring break.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, let's see if we can work it out. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, then
We know that
it is what
Wednesday's
it
off
is.
the table. So, anyways,
Yeah, you said
that's enough.
Thursday,
We'll deal
Friday.
with this off the show. I'm not going to edit this out. We're just padding the time. Greetings, fellow slingers. Welcome back to Roll the Hard 20 podcast. It is I, your trusted DM, Brian, and with me, the Hard Slingers. Yeah. Episode 44. Do you feel lucky? Of our Dragon's Demand run through. So, I don't got to lead you into what you guys already know. I sent you guys the picture and the map. You guys have entered this room of Hunclays where there's 2, 4, 6, 7 tables of stone configuration with all kinds of items upon them. You do notice
7
that
tables.
I said 7.
Oh, I heard 6. Sorry.
6? No, I said 2, 4, 6, 7 tables. I was counting them off. Don't ever correct me, Belhaim. You notice that on every table there's something different. You look at the table in the east northeast corner. There's a bunch of large bolts and nuts there. Why don't you guys tell me what you want to do, and we'll make the decision on what you see in these tables that are sporadically placed throughout this rather large room.
So we're still at the door, though, right?
You are all still at the door, but you guys had gone in, I'm assuming enough, or I know that Dempsey had gone in enough for me to describe the room. And I also don't know what your marching order is, so if you guys want to give that up to me, I would appreciate that. I'm assuming Dempsey's going to be numero uno.
As per usual.
I will go ahead and take up second.
Okay.
Take a third.
All right. Didn't really have to move anything.
Not really doing anything special. He just starts padding his way around the room, just looking for anything that's going to jump out and kill somebody.
Okay. Now, you guys all have the map that I sent on Discord.
Yep.
Tell me where you want to go in the room so I could have an idea.
Just starts crossing adjacent from the door, so straight down.
Straight across from the door is to the west.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay,
he'll move down west.
Okay. You make your way to you see that there's a large table against the northwestern wall, and it has several metallic objects upon it. By the way, these tables are pretty big. They're probably 8 feet long by, I want to say, 3 feet wide. They're about 3 feet off the ground, and they're just stone edifices. You notice also, I don't know if I described it last session, that the ground has a peculiar dust that has settled throughout the whole area, almost like granular sand.
The entire room, or just a section of
The entire room, almost as though the room has been left to its own devices for some time.
Can I tell? So I walk a little bit into the room. What's the lighting like in here?
It's still low lit. Hang on with that, Stubby. I want to see what Dempsey wants to do. I'm just going to go down the line.
Yeah, nothing special.
Okay.
He's not, being that he doesn't know what any of these things would be anyways, he's more just looking for like trip wires, loose tiles in the floor, like obvious traps.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check.
Or
It's gonna
hopefully
be
hopefully less than obvious traps.
12.
As you make your way through, you're pretty confident you're not coming across anything. But then
We're
again, you
good.
may not be as involved as, say, Stubby might be when he's searching.
If I'm next in the lineup and
You
Dempsey's largely done what he is, do I get the sense that this room is like a workroom of sort? With the various tables out, me as a player, I'm looking at this and I'm getting a sense of this might have been like where he had a number of different projects going on.
It does give off that vibe of a workroom area, with the way that everything's displayed and laid out on these tables and stuff. I think I'd mentioned that the table that's in the southwest corner had some literature books that were open.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also cogs and other things upon it. So, like I said, go ahead and let me know what it is you want to do besides your regular observation.
So there's two things I'd like to do. The first is looking at the 3 tables closest to the door where we came in. At least I'm giving them a little bit more of a direct inspection. Trying to determine the nature of whatever projects might be going on here and potentially their danger level. The second thing I'd like to do is just I will make a gesture in the air and a ghostly hand will appear and it'll like scrape up some of the dust off the floor, and I will just like examine it a little closer just to make sure that it really is just dust.
Yeah, the dust itself appears to be just old dust.
Okay.
But let me know what table you wanted to go to.
I'll go ahead and start with the northwest table first. On the little diagram, it looks like it's got like a little stubby wrench and maybe a hammer of some sort.
This one right over here?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, the one to... And so you do pass by Dempsey, because that's the table he headed towards as well. As you stand close by him, you do notice that there is some kind of a metallic hammer that is on there with a wooden handle.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that there are large, almost like rivets that are cold that haven't been used, so they haven't been expanded fully. And there's probably maybe 15, 18 rivets. I just drew it big so you kind of get an idea what's on there.
Okay.
Other things like that, you see flat looking washers that they're inside diameter would, the rivet looks like it would probably go through that diameter.
So he definitely looks like he was dabbling in artificing.
Stabi.
Hey, Warren, can you illuminate this room a little bit? I'm having a little trouble seeing in this lower light.
Sure. Do you have a torch?
I have a candle.
Dempsey does. He
Lights
reach
his
into his
hair on
pack and pull
fire.
out a torch. Dempsey
No,
will pull out a
Warren,
torch.
Warren, I don't. You know that candle's kind of my thing.
Warren just kind of like gestures over at the torch that Dempsey pulls out, and it flares to life. And after a moment, I make another gesture at it, and the light expands until it's a double illumination radius. So it should be 40 feet bright light and then 40 feet dim light. So it should illuminate pretty much the whole room.
And it does give you that illumination of which you're looking for, as long as it's in the center of the room. What else would you like to do?
I'll actually gesture over it, and my mage hand will go over, take the torch from Dempsey, and then float on over to the center of the room and just kind of like hold it there.
Just for a second, he's like fighting it, like, oh shit, you actually, okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of make my way into the center of the room, or actually around the. I'm gonna go up to the northeastern wall, and can I tell, is the dust on the ground like undisturbed everywhere? Like, can I see any footprints or anything that may tip us off that there's been anything in this room recently?
You're looking in the northeast corner?
Yeah, I'm going to start in the northeast corner.
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check and tell me if you detect anything.
So 15.
15. It looks like that area has had more traffic than probably the other area that you left to get to that area. In other words, the trail that's in the center of the room. This area seems to be more trafficked. More
Traversed.
traversed. Ooh.
So with that activity on the dust being unsettled around there, can I tell, is it like footprints, or is it just look like it's been, walked, or just that it doesn't look like the rest of the room?
It just doesn't look like the rest of the room. It looks like as though more activity has taken place in that corner than where you were originally at when you came in the room. But because you haven't seen the rest of the room, it's hard to compare it to other portions of the room.
So does the settling look like it's contained to an area that's not close to the walls, or is it closer to the wall or closer to the table that's in that northeast corner?
The settling of the dust appears to be more dissipated in that corner. There's less dust there than in the other areas. There's a few of those larger screws that were on the table that are right behind you have made their way onto the ground close by that corner as well.
Hey, Dempsey, can you come over here? I've got a feeling that maybe something's been going on over here. I just want a little bit of safety. You mind coming over here?
Sure. So he walks over and he picks up one of the screws. Like, I saw this in the Legend of Zelda video game.
So I want to
Like hold
look.
it above your head.
I want to look along those walls and just kind of tell if does it look like the walls are movable, or maybe there's a secret door or something in that area.
Make your perception check. Describe for me with flavor what you're doing.
So I go up along that northern wall, and I start running my fingers along the floor and the wall, leading up into that northeast corner, and just kind of seeing if there's any mortar or it's open. And as I get into that corner, I'm doing the same thing along the floor to see if there's mortar, and then kind of work my way up the wall to my height, 3.5 feet.
Can I assist him?
Sure.
So, like, kind of knocking, like, you think there's something here? Kind of knocking on it.
So give me your roll to assist him.
20, hard 20.
Yeah, hard 20.
And my perception check was a 19, by the way.
Nice.
Together, you guys make a determination that this portion of the wall looks different than the rest of the wall. Almost as though it may push in. Maybe it pulls out. Maybe it goes up or down, slides. But it definitely doesn't look like it's part of the wall.
Hey, Dempsey, I think we got something here. I think before we proceed, we should finish kind of looking through this room. Hey, Warren, Valadier, where are you at?
I'm right behind you.
Whoa.
It's like,
Don't do that to me.
Yeah.
That's how you get stabbed.
And with what?
they don't call him Stabby for nothing.
Oh, excuse me,
These
my
daggers.
friend.
Dempsey and I believe we may have found another passage out of this room, but I think we should finish our, going around the room here to see. if there's
Yes,
anything else.
Let's check Dirty Workshop.
Valadier, what would you like to do?
Valadier is looking at tables and just kind of wondering. All right,
Well,
we're
you got
here.
several tables. Which one would you like to look at?
I will do, since I'm kind of behind Stabby and Dempsey, I'll be looking at table B, the one in the.
I didn't label these, but okay.
Oh, I
Closest
threw it
to
up
the
on
door?
closest
Look
to
on the
door.
Discord. Look on the Discord.
I threw it in there just to see if it would help.
Oh, I didn't look at the Discord. Go ahead and give it to me.
I already did. Should be up there. It's the
Ooh,
closest
yes.
to the door.
Junior, good job, brother. Hell
Tried to
yeah.
help.
So as you go to this table, you notice that there are several devices on there. One of them looks like almost like a glass lens that's probably about 8 inches wide, maybe 2 inches tall, and about a half an inch thick. It looks to be some kind of a red crystal matrix with 2 copper leads coming off of them that just kind of dangle down.
Warren, is this important? Do you think it looks like we need?
Don't pick it up.
Oh,
Don't
pick me up.
Don't touch anything.
I'm
Don't.
sorry. I thought we came to help inventory.
Mostly at this point, we're just making sure that nothing else blows up in anyone's faces when they come down here.
It appears no one's been down here for a long time.
I agree, but that still doesn't necessarily mean that nothing down here is dangerous. I would hate to have to explain to the Baroness that we've suddenly lost a random stranger down here.
I just wouldn't report it. We found a dead
Found-
body.
I wasn't gonna say that.
I got a new loot, though. Check this out.
Taking
Hey,
requests.
we went into Hunclays Manor. We got fat loot.
Oh,
Anyways.
my God.
I will proceed with caution.
Is that a pH fat?
Oh, jeez.
Yes, it is. After like after my heart like comes down out of my throat, I'll come over to Validator and take a closer look. Can I make any heads or tails over what this might be? I'll glance over at like some of the other nearby tables, including especially table G over there, which is looking a little ominous.
No, the one that looks like Iron Man, like before he gets Stark Industry stuff.
Right.
This
Yeah,
is like
right.
in the cave, Iron Man.
As you make your way to table G, which is in the southeast corner, you see that there's this large automaton atop this thing. It's probably 9 feet tall, 9 feet tall. And as you're looking at this metallic structure, you notice that what would best be described as its head, where its eyes would be, has a similar crystalline lens where its eyes would be. It's the same thing that Validator is holding up. They look identical.
I imagine Dempsey's got like a screw and he's like picking his teeth. He's like, so do you use this stuff in your magic? And he like gets really close. He's like looking down at the automaton. Is this stuff you work on?
Then as you're looking at the automaton, are you over by the automaton too, Dempsey?
Mm-hmm.
You just following Warren around?
Yeah. He's got good ideas.
Yeah, I like it. You notice that one of the things about this automaton is that there's a large hole in its chest. It looks like a receptacle for something, but it's missing. And it's probably maybe 5 inches in diameter and probably goes down about maybe 3-4 inches deep. You also notice that the rest of this construct looking thing looks to be pretty beat to shit. Like parts of it are scored. Parts of the plating around it have been dinged or blasted away.
Does it look like Hunkley might have been building something new or trying to salvage something or repair something?
For that, you would have to know what caused the damage to know if he found it like that or if he built it and sent it out and it received that kind of damage.
Well, yes. However, I would also try to note, like, if there are, like, any sort of... Is it feasible for someone of... or even a couple people of moderate strength to have, like, carried this thing down here? Or is that highly unlikely?
That's highly unlikely.
Okay.
That somebody would have carried it down here.
Are there more marks on it opposed to the battle damage, more like wear and tear of no, sorry, never mind. I was trying to go off on I was trying to like figure out another way to like phrase it, but I just
make an insight check.
Insight. That is not terrible. 16.
You probably get the feeling that Hunclay probably built this thing here.
Okay.
Just by what you're seeing on the other tables.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing materials, you're seeing like a secondary visor.
But this thing has got... Does this thing look like it has battle damage, or does it look like it might have like self-destructed in like an accident?
No, it doesn't look like it fell off the table. This looks like it's been taking damage from something.
Perhaps they're books or scrolls or something to help. Perception. Is there any book shelves or?
There are no
bookcases or anything?
bookshelves, but on your infamous diagram here of table E in the southwest corner, I think I mentioned that there were some books that were already open over there.
Okay. Validator would like to go over and investigate.
Hold your thought for a second there, Validator.
Okay.
Stubby, what did you want to do? I want to keep going down the line. People.
Hey, Warren, do you think this is something that we could control? Perhaps with your magic?
Sure. Give me a solid year to study this magic and possibly learn artificing, and no problem.
I just take a deep sigh and just kind of shake my head and continue to look around.
My concern would be more what someone else might do with this. Let's see if we can locate what might have been the final piece to go in here.
Oh God. Is there like a skill or a knowledge, like knowledge local? Like, has anybody ever heard of these things walking around? I would think that if something was out here taking damage or like acting as a security guard, maybe somebody would have seen it or heard of something like this.
You
Probably
make a
this-
history check on something like that if you want.
History.
I won't
Would be-
roll because history for me is 200 years ago.
I had a 16.
You're the only one.
I was going
you-
to aid him and see if I knew songs of that were mentioned. of-
Yeah, aid him.
That just gives him advantage, so he can roll.
Yeah,
again.
so that was 11, so that was a success.
Okay. So as Dempsey, as you're reflecting back on the town where you grew up, and you remember hearing of how, as your brother was coming up as a famous boxer and stuff, that there were tales of other gladiatorial fights or other boxers actually boxing these kinds of constructs or iron type golems and things to, you know, for the crowds and stuff. Like a gladiator might fight a tiger or something, but you know, you get a couple guys in there and, you know, let's see who could win, the three guys or this metal automaton. And it was never clear whether or not it was another man inside the machine or whether it was actually something living. And you had never seen one personally, but you have heard stories. Valadier, you've heard songs sung about, you know, the giant metal man that once upon a time walked upon the land under the rising sun. You know, just all this other shit, you know, slaying down on everyone. Just all kinds of wild shit. But you yourself have never seen one either. And so you never felt the need to write a song or tell a tale about something like that. Until now. So, Valadier, you assisted him. What else did you want to do?
I'd like to look at table with scrolls and text.
As you make your way over to the scrolls, you notice that there are several books, I think possibly 3 books and other loose sheath paper. Some of them look like blueprints of something, but it doesn't look like a blueprint of something that's on the table. It looks like a kind of like a large device that has a seat on it. And it looks like there's cogs and there's platforms that move and some
Sex
kind of...
bicycle.
It's a Sibian. You notice that there's also something that refers to the construction of Lodo and other things that have been written down. One of them says placement of soul gem, and then it's like heavily scratched out like multiple times, like to the abyss with you, you're wrong, it's placement all wrong, and other things are written in other languages and scribbles that are highly undecipherable.
I was told not to touch anything, but these scrolls say something about a machine called Lodos. Does that ring bell?
Oh, it does. Lodo was quite unpleasant.
He's a streak upstairs on a window now.
Mm-hmm.
Loto machine?
No, Lodo was not a machine. Lodo was, from what I can tell, a homunculus, which you know what golems are, correct?
Yes.
Think of it, sometimes wizards will make little assistants for them that are, think of them like little flesh golems. That's kind of what they are. This
I
one was
don't-
particularly annoying.
Don't know if this looks like Gollum, but it looks like some kind of machine other than one on table.
Well, this here looks like it is an extremely complex golem. It makes me think of possibly it might be some sort of a version of like an iron golem. I mostly want to make sure that we can keep it from accidentally starting up. So I would like to either A, find whatever is supposed to be powering that heart of it, or I would like to find some way to sabotage it.
This Hunclay guy, he seems conflicted. Yes, he mentioned something about the gem. Come and read.
I'll walk over there and take a look. So I do speak and read Draconic, Infernal, and Primordial. So do any of those languages pop up in the book?
Popping up more than Junior did. It looks as though the Infernal would be the closest thing that you could see a few familiar symbols.
Mm-hmm.
And it mostly talks about... well, tell me which book you're going to look at first before I make any...
I will look first at the one that references Lodo building, because from the way you were describing the books to Valadiers, it looks like that seems to be the book that has the most like construction oriented notes.
Well, there's two books that each have that, and then the other one's more of like loose leaf papers,
like just a sheaf of notes all over the place.
Blueprints and whatnot. And as you're looking at the blueprint, you immediately recognize it as being the telescope that you saw at the top floor. Valadier was never with you, so he has no he can't really make that connection of what it is that's drawn down there. But as you're looking through the one with Lodo in there, you just see how Hunclay talks more about what he had to do to put together the components and the verbal aspects and the somatic aspects and the days that were involved. And then he starts going off on tangents from what you can gather, because you're only able to pick out maybe every third word. It's almost as though he's writing it's either a frantic language or possibly a language you've never heard of before.
Would this act as like a golem manual? Don't you have to have one of those to build golems?
Well, that was just the second book. If you're looking at the other book as well, that delves more in with this metallic construct. But again, you're dealing with the same every other word, every third word, every wonky syllable, and you see that there's a lot of his notes have been scratched out, almost as though he's trying to find something and it's failing. Nope, wrong one. Try 2 cups of water this time. Nope, that isn't it. One of those kind
He's
of
trying to perfect his recipe of whatever it is, but he keeps failing.
Yeah.
Okay.
These I think are going to be too dangerous to leave here within proximity to this construct here. So I'm going to take these and I close them and pocket them, and I'm going to
I want to take these off the table.
I am going to hand these directly to the Baroness. Well, I do not think that there's anything here immediately dangerous, although idle hands in here could prove to be so. Did anyone else notice anything?
Who else is doing what?
I'm just I'm watching the rest of the folks look at that table intently. I'm kind of just back between like tables D and F, waiting for them to complete, and kind of giving a funky eye over to the construct on that table, keeping an eye out.
Okay. And it's not moving. It seems very dormant.
It doesn't make me feel any safer.
Yeah. Well then, I think we are done here. Unless anyone has any other questions.
As long as we feel like we've looked at all of the tables. Yeah.
What are the items on D? The one right behind us. Since I take it, where are we all at? Where's everybody at? I know.
I think most everyone's at E.
Okay, the table behind us, D, so a little bit to the north.
As you turn around and look at that table, is that what you want to do next?
Yes.
You notice that there are splinters of what was left of some kind of a gem. There's probably maybe 75 pieces of one. And then to the right of that appears to be more of a solid gem that's probably 5 inches in diameter, maybe 3 inches deep, and it's It's wedged down. It's got like almost like a diamond type shape to it, but it's got a lot of cracks throughout it. Its integrity has been compromised.
So, this looks like it is probably an experiment to create the heart of this thing. I have to say, it looks like Hunclay has not been down here in quite some time. I don't know, Stabby, do you see any other signs of anyone down here?
No, Warren, the only thing that I see is that northeast corner where there seems to be some activity. You know, perhaps we complete our analysis of this room and all of us reconvene in that northeast corner.
Oh, yes, sorry, I did not see that. I was too busy looking at some of the tables. Certainly. Let me just take a quick look over here. I'll wander over to F.
And
so
on
we
that
put the gem into the man, right?
Yeah, you should.
No, we're not going to do that.
And he's like got it in his hands. Like we just put it right. It looks like it fits.
No.
Dempsey, just drop it
here.
in.
Come here, Dempsey. Come here. Okay, give me that. I'm going to take that.
Totally ready for this.
It looks valuable.
Look, we put it in there and then we carry it all at once.
It can walk out.
Hands, yeah.
It'll carry us out. Who knows?
Nope. This is also going straight to the Baroness. And Warren just takes it out of Dempsey's hands, maybe with a little bit of like tug of war.
Yeah.
Takes it, stashes it.
Uses the mage hand.
Yeah.
The mage
Loosen him
shocker.
up, mage hand. So you look over on table F and you see there are some larger cogs, multi-teeth cogs, and look to be some kind of metallic struts that have hinges in them. Probably part of the endoskeleton of whatever this entity is that it's on the one particular slab.
Is there something I can tell, like, by the pieces and the construct and the nature of what we're seeing? Like, can I tell if this is this a golem or construct made for is it made for combat? Is it made for labor? Is it just simply made like for defense? Like,
tell me what roll you want to make and what you want to do. Like if you want to do an insight to determine what it's for, if you want to do a wisdom check to see how you would have used it, or
no, I would probably just make a straight intelligence roll to take like how I'm assuming I can glean enough information from the notes of was he like how does he reference this thing and what he will use it for, and like not only that, but seeing like the nature of some of the components. Do they appear to be components that are perhaps chosen because of like the durability for like slow, solid movement, i.e. labor, or something that is sturdy but still has at least a little bit of speed to it, potentially combat?
Okay, got it. Go ahead and make your roll for me.
Okay, so an intelligence check, 19.
19. You don't see any weapons on it, but based on the components that are strewn throughout on the different tables, the cogs, the struts, the hinges and stuff, you wouldn't think that this is a lumbering beast. It looks as though it would be very agile, and it wouldn't be used for labor, but maybe for something else.
Okay.
If you want to know if it's made to fight, look at its hands. Do they look like mine or do they look like yours?
They have
Very simple.
They would have 3 appendages on them. Maybe I guess you'd call them like 2 fingers and an opposing thumb, almost as though like a tri-claw on
Are
each
they
hand.
delicate?
No,
Like, is this thing ever going to play the piano or is it more like punching?
it's gonna play the rocks.
Yeah.
Has drums.
Possibly with your head.
Yeah. You could always put one of those. You want to put one of those gems in?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
It's worth a try.
I got the instruction manual right here.
Right here. It says,
No, I have the instruction manual right here.
See, no problem. Warren has the manual.
Yes. No.
All right, Stabby, are you ready?
Let's go check out this door.
Stabby's been waiting for this. Tell me what you want to do, Stabby.
Getting ready. Okay.
Just gonna say as he like leans in.
Yeah. So as I approach this door,
And we'll see you next session. No, I'm just fucking with you, dude.
so I approach that door and I'm looking, to the ceiling, to the floor, and I'd like to look to see if there's any traps around that door,
Okay.
or the wall that looks like a door, I should say.
The door that looks like a wall.
Yeah, door looks like a wall. That's an 11.
11. You feel confident that you don't find any traps.
Hey, Dempsey, can you give this door a heave ho?
Without a
Inward.
doubt. Yeah.
And
Is
I'll
there
say
a place
trap.
I can get purchase on this thing? What is it?
You
know-
don't see any handles. You don't see any hinges. You just see a rough outline in the wall that's maybe 4 feet wide, if even
It's like-
that, by maybe 5 feet tall. And that's all you see.
I'm not really sure what I'm looking at. Like, how do we get through this thing? Just
I don't
kick
know.
it.
Use your muscle. Just put your back.
And he
into
just
it.
cracks, and like when he does it, it's just like nasty. And then he just pushes.
Okay. Give me a
See
strength
what
check.
happens.
Yeah.
Come on, motherfucker. 18.
18.
Yeah.
So you push on the door and you feel your right hand move
It's gonna be some pole shit.
move further than your left hand as it, whatever this portal is, squeaks open extremely loud, just as it opens inwards into the left.
Nice. I was
Allowing
gonna
you
say,
access to the right.
is this Midville school for the
Midvale
gifted?
School.
I'm pushing,
Yeah.
and it's a pull door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So he pokes his head in.
And you just
Quick look.
you feel this cold air coming through what appears to be a corridor that leads down to the south. It's 5 feet wide, and from what you can tell, it looks like the corridor goes down for about 30 feet or so. And then it gets dark.
Is there any like air movement? Smell anything?
It just smells kind of stale. It's got the air has like a little bit of a cold bite to it.
You think you could bring the torch over?
A ghostly hand kind of floats on over with the torch.
He's kind of like one eyeball on it, and then he's gonna duck underneath the 5-foot wall. He's like, "Shall we?"
Now, are we dealing with the same marching orders before? Dempsey warns
Probably.
to be
Yeah.
Belladere. Okay.
Yep.
Dempsey, tell me what you want to do as you lead your procession of fellow adventurers.
He's just gonna move forward, kind of like a half step at a time. Still very, very worried about traps in the floor, and just slowly see what's out here.
Okay.
Yeah,
It goes south, like I explained, for about 30 feet, and then it makes a turn to the west. And from that corner, you see that there's another corridor that goes from where you're standing to the west for beyond the radius of this light, which did you say was 40 feet, Warren?
40 feet of bright light, then another 40 feet of dim light.
Okay, you see dimly at the furthest aspect of the radius of this light where the corridor ends and then turns to the north. It's probably about 70 feet out in front of you before it turns to the north.
As we're going through this, are the walls still the same? Are they still made out of the same stone construct, or
They are
Are-
made out of the same stone construct, but whereas before, where the corridors were 10 feet wide, this is much narrower. This is probably just shy of 5 feet. It's really narrow. It
so it's a
gives you
tight
the-
fit?
Yeah, it almost gives you the sense that this is built into the infrastructure of Hunclays Manor, because you're not even dealing with the regular blueprints that was given to you by Gregor Lenton before. I mean, whatever was built down here, who knows who built it or when or how it was built.
Perhaps emergency escape route.
I think as he's walking, Dempsey is just like, weirdest freaking house I've ever been in. Stupid fucking rich people. Who builds a house like this, anyways?
Any extremely experienced reclusive, probably slightly touched practitioner of magic. Being completely honest, I will be a little saddened if I don't have a manor of this nature when I achieved my peak in the art.
You're telling me you want to live in a place like this with all these weird rooms and strange corridors?
Yeah, maybe something a little less dark and certainly with fewer demons in it, but yes. Particularly the observatory, that was quite nice.
So
Minus Lodo.
Yeah, minus Lodo.
Yeah.
So are you walking the length of this 70-foot corridor? Like I said, I don't make the assumption of what you guys are doing. You let me know. Tell me as you go through whatever you're doing.
I'm just walking and keeping an eye out for traps, obviously. Or,
Okay.
Swinging fucking blades that are going to come down.
So you get
the torch will be floating right above Dempsey's head.
Okay, keeping his hands free. As you guys get to the end of the corridor, at the end of the 70 feet, you see that it does turn to the north. And you have ample illumination to tell that it goes for 40 feet to the north, and then turns again to the west. But it almost appears as though there's illumination, soft light coming from that western corridor.
Maybe you got something with that escape route, Valadier.
And it's only plausible. I mean, crazy man builds crazy machine. If it goes sideways, you need a way out.
Are we
the
going
cops
in the
come?
direction of the witch tower?
No, the witch tower was to the east of Hunclays Manor. If you're going right now,
Take
you're
it
going.
off.
What's that?
Sorry, Chris is stripping.
Oh, if you're going to the north, or you'll be heading to the north up this 40-foot corridor. But when you turn the corner to the west, that's going in the opposite direction. That actually heads back towards Belhaim, the direction of that.
Stubby, you okay? You getting claustrophobic?
Look at how small I am.
No,
This is huge.
She's all, can't even touch the sides of the wall.
No, Valadier, thank you for your concern. I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm good. Thank you.
You jump in
Okay,
the guitar
well-
case.
Let's see what's at the end of this.
Yeah, Dempsey might even speed up a little bit. Like, I think it's just the way out. I think we're good.
Okay, and you guys proceed up to 40 feet, look to the west, and you notice that the corridor actually widens to 10 feet again. It looks like it stretches for about 60 feet to the west. At the 30-foot mark, there's a door against the northern wall. But at the end of the 60 feet, it looks like it turns to the south.
This is where the illumination is coming from.
It's not really bright, it's just more soft light. It's once again coming from the stones like it had been above and in some of the other rooms.
Well, let's see what is at the end here. As we come to the bend, I'll hold the torch back a little bit, dim it down, so that its light is not being quite so obvious around the corner.
Just check out this door.
I'll step aside, kind of like squeeze up against the wall for Stabby to do his thing.
Okay.
Did you guys want me to do something? I'm in the back here. I can't see. All I hear is just words.
How can you not see? You are the one who asked for the torch.
Well, I've got you standing in front of me, blocking my path. I don't.
I'm
see
not
what's
standing
going
in front
on.
of you anymore.
Ah.
I'm like standing to the side so you can go by me and deal with this door.
You want me to unlock this door, Warren? Is that what you want?
I would like for you to make sure that this door is not trapped. Yes.
Okay. So Stabby moves up to the door, Is there first off, is there a handle on the door?
There's a handle on the door.
Is there a keyhole?
No.
Okay. I will attempt. So as I'm looking at that door, I'm looking kind of up at the door, at the top, down along the sides, the bottom, just to see if anything
And
seems.
it's a typical wooden door, I should add. So
Okay. So I'm looking at the edges of that door up against the stone, just to see if anything looks out of place, namely traps. Roll perception, and that will be a 10.
you don't detect any traps.
Oh, we're good.
You're not finding anything.
Warren, have you detected any magic on this door by chance before you had me come up here?
No, I have not. As I give the door a hairy eyeball with a 10.
Oh, jeez. Can we combine our rolls?
Yeah, they both fail.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay.
Perhaps
Warren, how
it's
do you-
just door.
No,
I
no,
think
no.
we're
There's,
safe.
there's so much ambient magic floating around between whatever Hunclay enchanted into the walls, and there's plenty. There was plenty back in the room. It's difficult to pick out like specific auras and such.
Warren,
But
you're not feeling good about this, are you, Warren?
I am saying it is, if there is magic on here, it is as subtle as the rest of the magic in this manor.
Okay. That makes me feel a little better. Hey, Dempsey, Valadier, I don't know. Warren and I aren't quite sure what the safety of this door is. I don't know, Dempsey, maybe you want to barge in. I don't know.
I have
up
to
to you.
ask, do any of you guys ever play like where it's a blind roll, so you don't know what you rolled? You just have to go off the DM
No.
I mean, I have done that.
like that? Yeah.
And in some circumstances, I think that is a fun and interesting and appropriate way to do things. I think if me as a player is saying I'm going to go look for this though, unless it's like super crucial critical, I don't think that's a kosher way to do it.
I just think it's like a role play because you're like, sure, I'm good. So yeah, Dempsey, he doesn't know what he's looking at. These guys seem good. He's gonna reach out and pull the door.
Okay. And you pull it open, and it opens very smoothly. And inside you see what appears to be a bench with a hole cut in it.
Yes, finally.
You see there are a few magazines stacked up alongside it.
We finally found
All the way.
the bathroom, all the way in the basement.
That sucks. If like late night, you know what I mean? You got to get all the way down here 900 feet.
Well, maybe he
All right.
spends a lot of his late nights down here.
Probably.
It's only 10 feet by 10 feet. Nothing super big.
Does anyone have to use restroom?
Hell yeah.
Never good
Oh,
time
well,
to pass
Oh,
up.
Dempsey's
let's-
already
let's-
like dropping trout, dude.
Warren's like, I'm just gonna stand back here.
It's like I stopped at the 7-Eleven right before I met you guys, so I got a big gulp I got to get rid of.
You gotta roll.
tried-
I
chili
am
dog.
going to just laugh at the horrified bone crunching sounds as you sit on the mimic that is the latrine.
roll for shakes. So,
Does Warren, does it seem odd to you that, and this is legit a bathroom, right?
are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
asking the DM.
Yes.
So Warren, doesn't it seem kind of odd to you that a bathroom would be behind a secret stone wall?
Oh, extremely. But
This-
I think we've established that Hunclay was not necessarily, while he was brilliant and skilled, quite likely not in his right mind.
But it still seems odd to me that whether he was all there or not, why would you have a bathroom behind a secret wall adjacent to another room? It just we
Perhaps
should
it
be
makes
on our
privacy.
guard. This
Maybe he
seems
just didn't
odd.
want to gross out his guests.
No Febreze.
Yeah,
Dempsey,
you don't
does
you
it?
don't want to put that close to a kitchen or something.
But Dempsey, does it seem like you would have guests down here? And the way that we know of Hunclay, it doesn't seem like he was much into guests down here. I don't know. It just seems really weird to me.
Perhaps look inside hole and see if anything's hidden in there.
Let me
Oh, that's
finish.
great.
Let me
Please,
finish.
yourself.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Help yourself.
All right.
I'm
Well, I did go
standing.
look.
I'm standing
Oh,
back
God.
by the door. I'm unsettled by the fact that there's a bathroom down here behind a secret door.
And a long corridor.
Perception 8.
Oh my god.
You don't detect anything down that hole.
He needs more fiber. It just looks like ordinary pervy.
Looks like pervert like to stay down in hole too long.
It puts the lotion on.
Oh dear.
What would you like to do?
Well, unless there's some other door that is in this hall somewhere. I didn't notice anything that stood out. You, I think, have keener eyes than I do, Stabby. As long as there's a little light, and I'll gesture to the torch.
What are you looking for? Something in the restroom?
I'm just making a comment to Stabby of if there were any other like secret doors he may have noticed signs of.
I can certainly, Warren, I can certainly look. In the toilet, you mean? Are you implying that maybe he's even
either
What about
more
behind the
nutty
toilet?
than we thought?
Like in the
that he-
wall behind it.
Either in here or in the hall on the way here.
Well, the hall goes for another 30 feet and then it turns to the south.
Oh, okay.
So there's another way
Yeah,
out.
you still got another
Okay.
30 feet to go before it turns
Okay.
around the corner.
Apologies, I missed
This
that.
isn't like Once Upon a Time in not Once Upon a Time in Desperado, where they use that dirty bathroom and they flush the toilet.
Yeah.
And that secret door opens.
Oh yeah. It's not like that though, is it, Brian? I want to check to see if that back wall moves.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh, 11.
No, didn't move.
Okay.
Okay.
He's just gonna put the Life magazine under his shoulder and
Anarchist
up.
Digest.
keep moving.
Play orc.
Play orc. Nice. I swear I read it for the articles.
Let's well, if you're done doing your business, Dempsey, let's see what's at the end of this hallway.
Yeah, he pinches off and heads down the hallway.
Who just sit there in front of the three other guys? Just hold on, clean
I
pinch.
grew up in a house
Okay.
with 5 kids, dude. That's,
Okay.
you know,
So you go.
one good.
You're done.
I can go on. I can go on.
I know that's the
Okay.
problem.
No, we're good. We're good.
So you go to the rest of the 30 feet, and then you
Finishing
see
off this discussion.
it turns to the south. It's a long corridor. It's probably maybe 110 feet. But at 20 feet, you see that it turns back to the east again, or you could keep going to the south.
East or south.
Do we see an end to it from the corner where it turns to the east?
Not from where you are at the top
Even-
of the corridor.
Okay, even for me, where I can see 120 feet, even in darkness.
Well, if you're at the end of the corridor and you're
Mhm.
looking down, you see at 20 feet, it goes back to the east, or it keeps going down. So I'm
Okay.
assuming you were way up here, so you
Okay.
wouldn't be able to tell where
Okay.
that's going.
So where it keeps going down, I'm assuming that's to the south.
Yes, it continues to go to the south
okay.
for 110
Even
feet.
okay, so I can see down 120 feet, and I don't see any doors or anything.
No, you just know that it turns to the east.
Okay, I'll gesture Dempsey up forward a little bit to stay ahead of me, you know, in case blades come out and start beheading people. His goes first, but
Yeah, there's two corridors to the east, one at 20 feet and one at 110 feet.
okay.
So
I'll mention that I do see two corridors here, and then come up to the first corridor and look down it.
you see 30 feet down a wooden door that is partially open. And by the way, all these corridors are 10 feet wide now.
Mhm.
Where you got, unless
Oh,
unless I
again,
say
after
otherwise,
we
yeah.
got out of that narrower part.
Yeah, all these corridors are 10 feet wide, unless I say otherwise.
Okay. I'll just kind of like look back to Dempsey, and I'll just make like an open door sign, just one, and then point in that corridor.
Dempsey's gonna make like a gibberish hand sign and then walk up to the door. And can I do this stealthily?
Go ahead. Yes, let's do your stealth.
Yeah.
Oh, a 2.
2.
Perfect.
So you jingle your way towards the door, and as you get closer to the open door, you hear this. And that's where we'll end this session.
I'm gonna say Valadier's turn to get down. This reminds me of a catchy tune.
We found the lady of the house.
Oh, rub those thighs together. Thank you for joining us once again on Roll the Hard 20 podcast. Remember, you can find us and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeart Radio, Amazon Podcasts, and Audible. And if you like what you're listening to, leave us that 5-star rating and review. We've also got a YouTube channel at Roll the Hard 20, so if you're into watching, head on over there and hit that like bell, and don't forget to subscribe. We can also be found in the wild on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so don't forget to check us out and look for us out there. You can also contact the show directly at rollthehard20podcast@gmail.com, or head on over to the website at rollthehard20podcast.com, where you can also download the current show directly and view our archives and galleries. We got a lot of interesting stuff posted there, so head on over. And finally, join us on our Patreon page at patreon.com/rollthehard20podcast, where you can become a hard slinger and pick up swag. So until next session, keep your dice warm and your glass topped off as you roll those hard 20s.